There's a reason some business founders seem to have an easier time of scaling their businesses up fast and powerfully, while others fight, grind, hustle, and still seem to be crawling uphill. The reason some seem to make it easier is not just discipline, is not applying a bunch of productivity hacks. It is not contingent on planning harder, batching content, or reading another performance book trying to emulate a person who came before you. Top founders, the ones who scale with less chaos and more purpose and revenue coming in, are leveraging a hidden ROI advantage most entrepreneurs never even realize exists. Not leveraging the secret leaves you spending literally years wondering why you are not the one catching the break you've been working for. The hidden advantage they're leveraging is not speed. It is not really extra hard-fought effort either. It is simply clarity. A clear mind is the most aggressive, underrated, profit-driving asset in your business. And if your mind is noisy, reactive, distracted, or constantly on, you are delaying or losing ROI every single day. Today, I'm going to show you the hidden clarity advantage elite founders use to unleash 10 times faster return on investment, and why your noisy mind is silently costing you millions, more than any mistake, missed launch, or failed hire. First, let's talk about where most high-performing entrepreneurs actually are. You have big goals. You're constantly producing, constantly thinking, constantly solving, but mentally you're overloaded. Your brain feels like a browser with 47 tabs open, and you're afraid to close any because something might go wayside. Your mind is stuck buffering, more than you probably even realize. You know, like when you really do have a bunch of tabs open on your computer and the operating system spins like it's half frozen, trying to piece in the basics of what you're asking for. You're even possibly super, super productive, but feeling unfocused and spread very thin in too many directions. You're moving and you're making some ground, but not always in the ways that feel like it's compounding, and you feel you don't have the time to really sort it out well. You can sit down to your work and your mind instantly floods with, what am I forgetting? Should I be choosing A or B? Am I starting with this or that? What's the fastest way forward? I need to catch up. That panic sets in. I need to do more. And then decision fatigue hits, your energy drops, small tasks feel heavier than they really should. They can feel impossible. You're incredibly capable, but you're operating under a fog you can't seem to clear. You and I both know what makes this even more infuriatingly frustrating is that you know you're capable of bigger numbers, faster execution, cleaner output, deeper focus, but you can't seem to access that version of yourself consistently or even on demand anymore. This is the silent, extremely expensive tax on your ROI. It's the dam upstream on your cash flow river, a truly high tax. It's all created by a cluttered, noisy, unregulated mind. The worst part is you've been told the wrong solution. I'll tell you what doesn't work. Just work harder, fix your habits, plan your day better, set a 15-minute timer, turn your phone off, force yourself through it. Really, you can't out-hustle and outwork a noisy mind. You can't out-plan nervous system dysregulation. You can't fix inner distraction with straight-up self-discipline. And you can't become a decisive operator of your business if you're using tools and coping mechanisms designed for overwhelmed people. Productivity hacks and adding to your list of to-do habits actually makes it worse, because then you're going to feel guilty when they don't work. The lie is you need to do more. High performers like you don't need to do more. You have enough to do. God knows you're already covering more angles than 2 or 3 people should be having to cover. What you need is less noise, less business in your head, less load on your nervous system, less pressure to hold up all the pieces with your thoughts. The real problem you've got is this: your nervous system and your subconscious mind are running outdated scripts you don't even realize are there. They're scripts that create urgency, reactivity, fear of being still, guilt if you relax, fear of making the wrong moves, overstimulation, the inability to turn off. There's constant mental clutter. You can't blame it on a disorganized mind. Your mind is actually overworking in an effort to protect you. It's basing your present and your future thoughts on past patterns and experiences. That continual brain and thought pressure, the analyzing and background worrying and constant recalibrating, it slows you down, even while you're in motion. A visual on this would look a lot like that pressure wave that builds up before a plane breaks into the sound barrier. As an overachiever, you're pushing into something that doesn't want to give. In this case, patterns your mind and body are wired with. It doesn't want to give way because you have it ingrained as a warning system to keep you safe in ways that always worked before. As you keep pushing without taking that pressure off the nervous system and mind, you're going to be left waiting for the faster payout speed. Before breaking a sound barrier, a plane will shake, build intense pressure, hit unstable turbulence, it loses efficient motion, it even appears slower from the outside. This is exactly how your nervous system behaves when a high achiever pushes into more visibility, leadership demands, scaling, higher stakes decisions. The system fights the increased pressure until it is retrained, just as the air fights the jet until it passes through. Until you retrain the system underneath the thinking to allow you a fully or at least more relaxed nervous system to operate from, decisions are going to feel heavy. Your mind is going to feel noisy. Your return on investment is going to always lag behind your true potential. You'll even have a harder time seeing the huge progress and wins as you hit them. A plane ready to break the sound barrier is not suffering from a lack of effort. It's suffering from unreconciled physics. You, my high-achieving friend, are not suffering from a lack of discipline or to-do list. Your nervous system, though, is experiencing unreconciled patterns that are creating drag. That is why founders plateau. It is a solid factor in why they burn out and become more hesitant. It is why, when they push harder, they see diminishing returns. It is why they lose momentum even when they're doing everything right. A noisy mind is expensive. It slows down your execution, distorts decisions, drains your energy, clouds your creativity, and it erodes self-trust. It is costing you exponentially more than you think. But I have good news for you. Once a plane breaks that sound barrier, the pressure drops, the motion becomes smooth, fast, and efficient again. You need a clear mind and a rewired, retrained pattern to really break through to the success you're aiming for, to get that best return on investment happening with more ease. When we clear the pressure of a busy, distracted mind pattern, you'll experience more natural, efficient, and fast momentum in your business and in other endeavors. I'm Abby Motsky, PhD, founder of Elite Frequency Co., and I've spent a dozen years helping top performers and founders collapse time, scale with clarity, and rebuild their nervous system so their mind finally matches their ambition again. My work blends high-performance psychology, subconscious rewiring, and nervous system optimization, creating and putting you into what I call the power zone effect. Here's the truth nobody is teaching. Clarity produces more return on investment than speed and effort ever will. A clear mind makes faster decisions, chooses to prioritize higher ROI actions, it stops chasing busy work, it regulates your energy, allows constant restoration in the process, it's going to multiply your creativity, it increases accuracy, it prevents the need for excessive rework, it stabilizes your leadership presence, and it accelerates your actions. Every hour of clarity in your brain saves weeks and even years of course correction. This is why elite founders scale faster with less chaos. Their internal operating system is given time and space and ability to turn situations and potentials over in analyzing without constant distraction or undue pressure. Clean, satisfactory, high-efficiency decisions can be made there. That is the hidden advantage. You don't need to do more. You need to clean up and upgrade the system that decides what you do. Delete the distractions that are running in your mind and behind the scenes. But you've got to have the ability to create and afford that space in your mind, your heart, and in the background peripheral space that thought happens in. Most founders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs don't or can't. The excuses may be external and environmental, but the real source of a clear mindscape comes from internal drivers. The internal drivers can be tuned up quickly without anything super invasive if you have the right process. Having a mind that can set all things aside and turn over a specific problem and come up with the most effective, powerful answer necessitates three things: a regulated nervous system, emotions and worries not just under control but set aside, and a subconscious mind that is fully on board and aligned with your processes and goals. But that is a huge order to even the high achievers like you. You didn't start your business or project to get into self-development. Nobody really does. And now that you find out that your rise to a thriving, magnificent ROI is contingent on it, what will you do? You can proactively solve that dilemma so you can get to a clear mind fast, or you can choose to let that clear mind come at the pace of whatever natural progression your subconscious and conscious mind will allow over time. But a clear mind is key. Top founders and CEOs can focus to see what needs seen, be able to process it swiftly, and to do what needs doing without all the distracting side clutter that hampers so many founders and CEOs. I'll tell you, there is a method to getting your mind settled and clear. It does not need to take years of effort. You don't have to fully wait for yourself to learn it intuitively or from the pain of circumstances. The need and demand in my clients for a clear mind, a clear operating system of subconscious and consciousness, is exactly why I developed my systems. I had clients doing all the right actions, and some would seem to plateau despite their best efforts. It made no scientific sense, and I can tell you we analyzed all the tangible angles. I found there are specific ways to prove the nervous system is blocking your progress. When I checked these people with those methods, we found it how the body's subconscious patterns and sometimes protective actions would be physically stopping their efforts from producing equivalent results. Your body will stop your progress until you address and solve or process what is keeping you from a clear mind. That is why you can have difficulty making space in your head and clarity of emotions enough to really focus with a relaxed mind for maximum leadership mindset and presence. I developed a specific method to pinpoint and help you speed process the very things that keep other founders, CEOs, and entrepreneurs in slowed down spinning patterns for years, effectively freeing up space and regulating your nervous system to optimal for success performance. Inside my Power Zone Effect program, the piece that directly fixes the mental noise I call Quantum Pro Performance. It is the method that identifies and clears the subconscious and the nervous system patterns that hijack your clarity. Here's the simplest way to understand it. Your mind is the CEO. Your subconscious is the COO. Your nervous system is the entire operations department. If the operations department is panicked, the COO is overwhelmed. And if the CEO is getting 15 conflicting reports, your company slows down. Quantum Pro Performance does three things for that. It pinpoints the old scripts your nervous system is running, like perfectionism tendencies, fear of mistakes, over-responsibility, and past stress loads. It clears the electrical noise between your brain and body so your thoughts stop firing in 12 directions at once automatically. It reinstalls clarity so your decisions become sharp, clean, and fast again. This is how founders go from overthinking to decisive, from reactive to strategic, from scattered to potent, from fatigued to energized, from plateaued to accelerating. Most people try to push through that static. We remove it. We value working smarter and more efficiently, not excessively harder. One of my clients, we'll call her M. She was a high-level founder whose biggest block was overthinking the high-stakes decision of which direction to grow next. She would not let her team really take the reins and run with her marketing and promotion. She would write out podcast scripts and delete them before she produced them. She would say no to collaborations she actually wanted because she had a lot of hesitant second guessing going on. She was filling the time she needed to think clearly with more client work. She was sabotaging her own visibility because she never felt ready enough or good enough. Within a few sessions of clearing the subconscious avoidance patterns running underneath and driving her busy mind chatter, she stopped trading immediate smaller income for long-term massive up-level of authority and ROI. She began guiltlessly blocking off regular time for content creation and visibility and select networking. She launched a high-impact podcast. She joyfully dove into developing a signature program with global goals, and she now hits national stages, paid to speak in a high-impact, underserved industry. The transformation wasn't willpower-based. It wasn't forcing herself to be brave. It wasn't adding more busy work or other people's success habits. It was simplifying the internal clarity game. It was a matter of getting the mind quiet and clear and focused enough to lose the emotional baggage that confused direction and speed. I see this every single week. When the mind becomes quiet, decisions align. Physical, mental, and emotional energy rises, execution accelerates, results compound. Here's how it really is. Your business doesn't grow from doing more. It grows from you being able to decide better. And you can't decide better with a noisy, distracted, overwhelmed mind. Elite founders move faster because their clarity is clean, their nervous system is regulated, their subconscious is not fighting them. That is the hidden ROI advantage. That is why they scale 10 times faster. That is how they avoid losing millions in wasted time, wrong turns, fractured focus, and self-sabotage. Clarity is not a luxury. It's a necessary infrastructure. It is non-negotiable. If you're ready to clear the noise, reclaim your clarity, and step back into decisive, high ROI leadership, send me the word clarity. I will send you details on working with me inside the Power Zone Effect program, where we rebuild your nervous system, calibrate your mind, and install the operating system that elite founders scale fast from. Remember, clarity fuels momentum, momentum fuels ROI, and we can get you back to both.